This episode of the podcast is brought to you, as always, by Rakesh Joshi Law PLLC in Albany, New York. Attorney Rakesh Joshi is an accomplished trial attorney and has been admitted to practice before the United States Supreme Court. He is also a licensed trademark and patent attorney with the USPTO. Contact him directly by phone at 518-635-0725 or visit rakeshjoshilaw.com to send an email or for more information.
So this is the thing, right? The solution is introduce clean bills and get those things done, but they won't do it. And I just wanted to put that, I'll summarize it this way. The Washington Vultures are circling the bodies now. And the bodies belong to the American people. That's what's happening. It's bleak, it's dark, but that's exactly what's happening. No shame. The vultures are circling.
Right. Country shut down, but Washington is open, right? At work, and not in a good way,
Yep.
like they want to say,
Not
right?
in a
We're
good
at work, we're working for you. It's like,
as
we're
usual.
collecting checks. Yeah.
Yep. Business as usual. In fact, this is fantastic for us. We're gonna get everything in this time.
Yeah.
It's 1 trillion.
Yep.
Then they made it 2 trillion. Now it's 2.5 trillion. Yes. We're gonna borrow from everybody. We're gonna invest in foreign countries. And who knows, November, Joe Biden comes in. He's the deal maker guy, as corrupt as they come. Boom. Then it's even better. The dividends just went that much higher.
Yep.
It's amazing, man. It's like so many things they've put in this. Like, the talk in the news is about what they've put in it other than coronavirus stimulus.
Right. Yeah, and the
that's
news.
The talk. Yeah, if that's the loudest talk, there's something wrong.
The media always likes to push this idea that the more, like, the bigger the bill, the better. Also, right? Like, oh, it includes this, it includes this. Like, fantastic.
Yeah. The advantage of having clean bills is then it puts everything in correct perspective. This is what we gave to the American people who actually suffered. And then the corporate bills. If you introduce a clean bill with the right terms in it, for example, no stock buyback and those kind of things, no incentives to board of. For example, Boeing, like Trump said, they were already suffering, and they were suffering because of the 737 issue. Right? So Boeing is if they were not doing really well and now this happens coincidentally, they cannot be rewarded for not doing well from the start. So they can only be rewarded enough for what's not their fault. Okay, we collectively, the government, decided to shut down the airline industry, and yes, you couldn't come out of the. I understand why it is necessary to bring them out of this, because certain policies and rules and regulations and decisions that have been put out right now, which affect the corporate world, are put in place by our representatives who, generally speaking, reflect our thoughts. So these have been imposed on these companies by us. So we got to bail them out and help them out in this situation. Not how the Lehman Brothers and all that 2008 massacre. That had nothing to do with people. That was absolutely corporate greed right from beginning to end. And not many heads rolled, nothing really happened out of it. But here, I understand. And we got to do that, give them an opportunity. They have to pay it back. Of course they will. At least that's the hope. And we have some terms and conditions. This is not to just squander. This is not some money that we gave you to go on vacation. No, you conduct the business well. That's it. But you can keep that clean. and not have all these politicians profiteer from that.
Well, you're right. Everything that would solve it, and I've this has been like my Christmas wish for as long as I can remember, is that if bills, right, somehow there would be some requirement where like every bill is just kind of one thing, you know, like one issue, one topic, whatever it is. It's ridiculous that that's
and
how
this
things
topic
are done.
is historical. This is a huge topic.
Yeah.
And it's not even as if the issue is not even gone yet. We are still in the midst of it all. New York is in the thick of it right now. So this is not even over, and they're already circling. That's the issue here. So I hope they're really judged well this November, and people, you know, a lot of lessons have been learned, and we'll talk about it another time. But this really is the icing on the cake, what Washington is doing right now. And I'm just so cynical. Yeah, Lindsey Graham, yeah, those were great talking points, but yeah, they don't mean anything. Because he knows the solution for them, because he's done this long enough. If I can come up with this in literally 2 minutes after listening to the issues, he spent decades there. He knows that a clean bill will solve this. There are 3 separate topics here. Let's have 3 separate topics. But Nancy Pelosi wants funding for Kennedy Center and then $600 million. $600 million. Some news, I read it somewhere else. Almost $600 million for some arts and performance and all those things. You know, this is all going through conduits, making them rich. And then she also wants to write off the $11 billion loan or debt that the United States Postal Service has, and write it off and give them another $20 billion. Why? Because it's mismanaged. We're going to reward you. But when you talk to postal workers, they say, no, we are actually not mismanaged. We make good money, but they steal our money, and then we go in debt. I don't know who's speaking the truth, but and they work very well. But of course, I have been to post offices where they don't work well at all. They take lunch breaks. They're not friendly to people. They're not, that's why UPS and FedEx even survive. But I understand the importance of USPS. It's tied to the First Amendment, right? The freedom of expression. We got to maintain that. The people fund it so we can send letters, and this was traditionally the First Amendment's intention. The Postal Service is part of First Amendment rights. But think about, why is Nancy Pelosi so interested in funding all that? Have you thought about it?
Nobody does. Nobody even, it comes out, but that's not the headline, frontline news, That's the problem. The press, which people argue, right, is not a free press, that we don't have a free press, and that's the thing. That's not on the front pages. That's not what people talk about. And they don't talk about it because how do we know to even talk about it? You have to really be looking hard.
Right. So she wants to fund them to ensure, come closer to November, that department can push their political speech effectively, the outreach. This timing is suspect. She wants to fund the United States Postal Service in a coronavirus bill. You would think USPS...
So crazy.
Yes,
What?
you would think about it, right? I'm not being crazy. Am I sounding crazy or too cynical here? Because
it's funny. We almost I feel like that too. Like, are we crazy? Because that's how it's always done, right? It's so insane that's how it's always done.
Think about it. It's right now we're suffering from a virus calamity in the United States, and she is really worried about funding the USPS. And generally speaking, the Postal Service, United States Postal Service, funding them should be a no-brainer. Talking about it should be a no-brainer. And it needs to be its own bill anyways. Maybe a discussion before you do that. Hey, why do you have this debt? What happened? Who is covering up for that debt? And why is Nancy Pelosi pushing that in this bill? People need to stop and think about this. This is effectively 25 plus 11, $36 billion of taxpayer money going towards an entity which also is very tied to political speech. Politicians send their flyers through USPS. You get unsolicited mail through USPS. You don't get unsolicited mail through any other means. UPS and FedEx does not give you unsolicited mail. USPS does. People don't make that connection, but it took me literally 30 seconds to make that connection. Actually, not even that long. It's like, oh, USPS. Yeah, First Amendment. Yep, political speech. Elections are around the corner. They want to fund it. And they want to create a bias with the USPS. Maybe the workers will start thinking, oh yeah, the Democrats are better to us. They're being nicer to us. I need to deliver this one over anything else. I will go to every house and deliver this. I will work harder on this because they pay for me. I don't know what the influence will be, what the outreach will be, but the timing is suspect. Without any discussion. At midnight. And the Republicans were saying, we'll pass it at midnight. Why are these bills being passed at midnight? What wonderful thoughts do you have only at midnight? You haven't seen what the nation has been going through over the past 2 to 3 months through this entire situation? People suffering? All the deaths that are coming, the death toll that's occurring because of this? Or anything else, all the discussion, everyday press briefings. You guys are doing this every day. Do you still need to discuss this, especially at midnight? Anytime a politician wants to pass something at midnight when you're sleeping, that's a problem too. It's suspect. The timing is suspect. Criminals work at midnight. The thieves are thieving at midnight.
Right. Well, everybody's asleep, right?
Well, everybody is asleep, yeah. They're breaking the windows of America's car as we sleep. It's all suspect, and I just don't understand. Am I the only one making these connections and only you making these connections? Are we crazy or what? And this is not conspiracy theory. This is exactly what she said, and this is what is printed in those pages. So none of this is made up. This is just an analysis based on solid facts that are happening right now. Yeah. And Lindsey Graham makes those statements. The Graham statements will have to within 48 hours. Why do you even need 48 hours? And then if it is so critical, why do you need 48 hours? And if it's that critical, why does it have so many things in it? And how come you can't come up with a suggestion? Let's clean up this bill. Tear off half the book. 1,400 pages, yeah, just remove. Just look at the coronavirus keywords, print it out again, reintroduce it. Let's work on it starting midnight, but we'll pass it during the day, and maybe even just have the discussion on television. The whole thing is a game. You say this, and then I'll say this. I'll distract and you'll distract. We'll keep them all distracted. And distraction is one subject I want to talk about another time. That's how they keep you busy. That's how they keep you stressed. And if you're stressed, you're not paying attention to the finer details. You're like, all right, just hand me the stuff. All right, let me get out of it. I need toilet paper. All right, well, it's 50 cents more. That's okay. Here's $1 more. Give it to me. Let me get out of here. That's the thing. People are clamoring for toilet paper in America.
Yeah, right.
And I don't blame the people. I don't blame the people.
No, I know, but right. Good point, right.
Top.
Yep.
You told people that there's going to be a lockdown, don't travel. People are going to take essentials so they don't have to keep going back to the stores. That's why they're taking toilet paper. Not because they're stupid. Don't make fun of people who live in trailer parks and rednecks. Don't call them trailer trash and rednecks. No, they're not. They have children and they have their own bums to wipe, and that's why they're there for toilet paper. And they know how many rolls they go through. They're not buying too many bars of soap. They know how many bars of soap a person needs and a family needs. This is so ridiculous that and so demeaning to the American public that they have to go to stores 6 times in order to find some toilet paper, and stores are out of it. I understand they're out of masks and gowns and those kind of things because the hospitals are using them. But why aren't these corporates providing toilet paper? If people are buying them, sell them. Canned food, toilet paper, juice, all that is out. Big stores like Walmart, they're out. And they think it's funny. And people are making fun of it. On YouTube, everybody who's talking about Armageddon apocalypse is picking on these people for buying toilet paper. Guys, there's a reason they're picking that, because they feel there's a need for that right now. Don't make fun of people. You know, a farmer who never goes to school, who's never been to school, he can feed 1,000 mouths.
Mm-hmm.
Go to Harvard and try to grow a fucking tomato. You know, this whole elitist approach to this, I'm educated, therefore I am. You know, I think, therefore I am. That's all BS.